He's a nationally syndicated talk show host with audiences in all 50 states and 160 nations. He's ranked as a top 100 business trainer on earth. He signed a 4-year book deal with Ben Bella Publishing, books including business, faith, political, and cultural issues. National and international spokesperson for events and companies, author of the book Quit Your Job or Die. He's been a television anchor for a presidential debate. He's had appearances on CBS, NBC, Al Jazeera, RT, Daytime, NPR, and many more. He's a Liberty Award nominee, over 6.2 million viewers, and 100,000 social media followers. You're right up there with Bieber, almost. Industries include hospitality, fitness, finance, travel, also SEO, manufacturing, sales, advertising, transportation, food, heavy equipment, and service. We're getting him on now because he's actually going to do his nationally syndicated radio show live from here at 9 o'clock, and I got to give him some prep time. So ladies and gentlemen, we're ahead of schedule on this. I want to introduce Josh Tolley.
You know what's so crazy? Steve mentioned networking and how it's really important at events like this, and I always thought so too. And I'm standing over here, and all of a sudden this lady comes up to me and she goes, "Josh, I know you from someplace." I'm like, "Really?" I meet a lot of people, so I'm like, that's cool, not thinking anything of it. Turns out we met at a networking event 2,800 miles away from here. Absolutely crazy. So that has nothing to do with anything I saw today. All right, so first, this is how I work. I actually wing speeches. So I'm going to give an hour presentation in about 5 hours, and I don't know what I'm talking about yet. So, how many people in this room are employees? Wow. Okay. How many people in this room are self-employed entrepreneurs? All right. How many people in this room employ somebody else? All right. Thanks. So when Steve asked if I would do this, I was really excited because this is what I love doing the most. Like you said, I host a show, and that's fun. It's interesting. It's provided a lot of opportunities. I've been on a lot of other shows and all that sort of stuff. But this is really where the rubber meets the road. This is where I got started. I've been training businesses now for about 15 years. And it's that economic growth that really propels society. It really propels America. And there's a lot of conversation right now, and I'm not going to get political, but there's a lot of conversation. How do we get America back? How do we recover? Newsflash, we're really not in the economic recovery everybody thinks we're in. I was talking to a Wall Street broker on the show about a week ago, and he was saying we're in what's called a shadow depression. It's existing, but because of credit limits and debt structures and all that other sort of stuff, we really don't see it, we really don't feel it. But it's actually just as bad as it was in the 20s, and at some point it's going to catch up to us. And we were talking about solutions, and the solution cannot be predominantly a political solution. It has to come from you. This is why I'm excited you're here, because you are the answer. So throughout the presentations today, and everybody talking and the networking, ask yourself really, why are you here? Especially if you're an employee. Because if you're an employee, you might be thinking, well, I'm being paid to be here. I mean, it's just part of your job. But the reality is, you still hold the key. See, right now, 4 out of 5 Americans are at or near poverty. Half of this country doesn't have $500. I mean, that's scary. So there are people out there thinking, well, who are the people who are going to come up with the answers? Who are the people who are going to come up with the solutions? Who are the people who are going to come up with the new technologies that are going to work, or the manufacturing, or whatever? And the answer is, it's you. You're here for them. You're here for you. You're not here for us or any other speaker. The speakers are just here to propel you to that next level. Does that make sense? And I really, really hope you take advantage of that. Because you ask yourself, well, how serious is this? It's so serious that suicide now outranks traffic fatalities. Number 1 cause for suicide is financial stress. So while it's fun to get together, while it's interesting to take a day off from work and come to an event to network and have lunch and all that sort of stuff, there's a very serious topic here. And it's one that I think because we live in a comfortable America, we don't really see until we experience it. So just ask yourself why you're here, make some Make some goals on that notepad that they gave you. Make some notes. Start thinking outside the box. Start thinking of things that people haven't thought of before. If you're looking to do the same thing you did at the first meeting 3 years ago, and you're trying to still do that and wonder where success is, it's time to try something new. So just kind of ask yourself those questions. And then the key to networking. The key to networking is be buying, not selling. The number one tip I give to people when it comes to networking events is everybody seems to be selling, right? That's why you go. Sell, sell, sell. You want to promote your business, your product, your service. And then a lot of people are unsatisfied because they leave and they say, oh, well, you know, it didn't really go as well as I wanted to. You have to look at it the opposite way. You have to look at it and say, what does everybody else in this room have for me? Because then the real magic happens once you leave and you start developing those new ideas, those new projects, and you start remembering the people who sold you their services, and that's where the real networking takes root. If you're just going to try to sell your business or service and say, oh, well, it didn't work because nobody bought or whatever, you're going to have an uneventful day. It's not going to be what you want it to be. So definitely do it the other way. You'll be a lot more happy. Also, come up with questions. I absolutely love questions. Most speakers don't like to be interrupted with questions. When I come back and do an hour presentation, I would love to see a hand at every table go up. Does that make sense? All right, that's all I got because I really have to go do show prep. So Steve, thank you so much.
Thanks, Josh. How many, your syndicated radio show, as you're going out, Josh, how long has it been on? And because I don't think people realize that you're gonna be broadcasting from here.
Yeah, right out.
Nationwide. Yeah, you're gonna be out in the hall. So
it's been on for 3 years.
3 years, and all across the country, and of course they can listen online too, right?
Yeah, you can listen online. Smart devices, iTunes. There's apps. So if you go to your app store, just type in Josh Tolley. There's apps for that. And we have a lot of business topics. Like we've had the sharks from Shark Tank. We've had a number of authors, leaders that you would know of in this industry. So it's a business-based show because I really, truly believe that free enterprise is the fuel for freedom. It really is. Every hospital west of Jamestown is the result of entrepreneurs. Every church west of Jamestown is the result of entrepreneurs. So it's really free enterprise that empowers people to do anything. And I think to a large extent, and we'll talk about this later, I think to a large extent, we've killed that. Even in small business. There are a lot of small business owners. There are very few entrepreneurs. You know, you hear these stats like 83% of small businesses are failing. There was one survey that took 100 startups. They couldn't even finish the 10-year study because 100 of them went out of business. So you have these people who want to own their own business, and they become small business owners, but they are far from what an entrepreneur is. Matter of fact, when I do the long presentation, which is 2 days, but when I do the long presentation, I bring with me a textbook from 1929. The first chapter of that math textbook for a 7th grader, how to pay your employees. The second chapter, setting up distribution. In a 7th grade textbook in 1929, we taught the default career was entrepreneurship. The job was the backup plan if nothing worked. And today it's the exact opposite. And then we wonder why. We wonder why the economy's falling. We wonder why we don't have money. When I come back, I'm going to tell you what the practical poverty level is in this country. It'll blow your mind.